The 90s were a great time for arcades. Walking into my local arcade with a fresh £20 note, feeding it into the change machine, and hearing the sound of falling coins as I prepare myself to try to get on to the 4th stage of SEGA Rally 2. At the time, it was my favourite arcade racer. I just wasn't very good at it. I've lost count at how much money I spent on that game. Not that it really matters, it was money well spent. Nailing a handbrake turn on the Stage 2 mountain track in a Toyota Celica GT-Four ST-205 was all that mattered at the time. When all was said and done, I'd return home and think about how I could approach the tricky Stage 3 snow stage better with added Scandinavian flick.
Caution, hairpin right! Whoa!
It seemed to me that every week I'd enter the arcade, there'd always be a new cabinet to try out, and SEGA were the most prolific amongst all manufacturers. I remember at one time I could try out a mix of AM2 and AM3 games: SEGA Rally, SEGA Rally 2, Manx TT Superbike, Scud Race, SEGA Touring Car Championship, Daytona USA, Daytona USA 2. This begs the question, why can't SEGA remake or remaster these games? You might suggest supply and demand, that it makes more sense to focus on their well-established IPs, such as Sonic the Hedgehog. But I feel as though that's missing the point somewhat, and subsequently leads me to the crux of this short video. To play many of these games, especially those with no console ports to speak of, players have to go to great lengths in setting up a compatible emulator. Even then, if successful, you won't be guaranteed an arcade-perfect experience. Arcade cabinets are becoming more expensive, far more expensive than most of us can afford, and they simply won't last forever without continuous maintenance. Of course, if the console version exists, you can track down original hardware, then you have to consider costs, and if that hardware is particularly old, you then have to consider how long it's going to continue to work. Imagine if you wanted to listen to a piece of music or watch a film from a similar era when AM3 games were at their peak. You'd likely use a streaming service such as Spotify or Apple Music to listen to your favourite songs from that time. Or maybe Netflix to watch a particular movie that you were fond of in 1996. Given that we live in an age of convenience, why is it still so difficult to play games from the past? What about those of us that are confined to watching these classic games on YouTube, never to be experienced again by mere mortals who don't want to get their hands dirty trying to set up some archaic form of emulation, or buying an arcade cabinet? The works of Yu Suzuki, Toshihiro Nagoshi, Tetsuya Mizuguchi, they designed games that were meant to be played, not watched. Their legacies should be accessible to everyone, and until somebody comes up with a solution, there's a danger that many games will just be forgotten about. There is, however, a developer that took an arcade original and made it even better, demonstrating that this is possible and can lead to success if done right. With arcade cabinets being too expensive and emulation being tricky for those that just want to casually experience arcade classics, it's up to the talent, such as the excellent team at M2, to showcase the best the 90s had to offer with their ability to bring those games into the modern era.